Hey everyone, and I'm back as every day, and we are forwarding and we are going well with our topics, and we are covering it well. And hope you are doing it right from your end as well, and I believe so. So today it's the most important and favorite topic of Excel, that is absolute and relative reference. We are going to talk about what is absolute and relative reference. So the name suggests relative and absolute. So let's wait for an example to just see how does it go, and I'll explain the names in detail with respect to the example, so that it will be easy for you to understand the names and as well as the concept as well. Okay, moving on to the example. Since we have performed a few operations yesterday, let's delete these, and let's delete these as well. Yeah, I've just created a small table just to see how does a relative reference and absolute reference do work on our table. Okay, so for that, just to check, I've just added one more column into our existing table, that is discounted price. Usually in shopping, we do have discounts, right? So there's an MRP, and we'll be not at all buying it for MRP. There's always a discounted price. So in the discounts will be in percentage, more or less, right? So the percentage of discount is been deducted from the actual MRP, and will pay the rest of the amount to the salesperson. So that is how the actual scenario happens in reality. How does Excel calculate these percentages? Yeah, we'll see that. And you might be thinking it is simple, but there's a small just a trick to it, and if you can get it, it's way easier for you to calculate all of these discounts and any particular sales calculations in future very easily. Okay, let's see now. If the total price, let's see the total price first. Okay, since we have three quantity, it is obviously say the formula. Yes, G3, yeah, into H sorry, G9 into H9. Yes, that will give us the total amount of the price that we pay for all the three soap bars, that is 404 rupees. If we try and drag all of this below, we will be getting the total price of all of these items with respect to calculation of with their quantity into price. So 4 into 8, 10, that's obviously 356, and similarly we will be getting all of these values in relative to the particular cells. How does Excel calculate it? So that is what we are going to see. Okay, total price we have got it. So let's do one thing. Let's fill all the borders just to maintain the integrity of the particular table. So now we are going to calculate this discounted price. Similarly, yeah, say is equal to what is H9 minus, we are deducting total minus discounted price into within the braces H9 again into what percent? 10%. That is 61.20, right? You got it. And if you could drag the same thing again, what would happen? Yes, we've got the results. Yes, 61.20 after deduction of 8989. Where is my 10% discount gone? Hey, there is something fault with the system. Probably you should look after it. 78 again. There's no discount for me in cool drink as well. Nothing for biscuits, nothing for sauce, nothing for burger. There's only discount for soap or what? No, that's not the case. So in Excel, this is where the relative and absolute references comes in place. So if you could see, I've dragged this particular here down. When I did drag this down, what has happened? So this cell is G9, this cell is H9. The formula is been as calculated as G9 into H9, whereas this cell is G10, this is H10. The formula is automatically calculated as G10 into H10. Similarly, it goes way down to H16 and I16 to the similar way. H16, G16 and H16, G16, H16. Yes. So similarly, all of this has been calculated by using the brain of Excel. So what has Excel done? It obviously thinks when I drag down this particular cursor down, it obviously thinks the calculated amount or the amount to be calculated should be in reference with the next particular cell in the next order. That is, what is next to G9, that is G10. What is next to H9, that is H10. So similarly, it is automatically incremented by 1 and it calculates the amount as in order. So in this discounted price as well, what did it think? This is B7 into this is B7 and the action to be performed on it as H9 minus within the braces H9 into B7 percentage. So it is obviously correct for the first one, but why is it not calculating it for the second one? Because it has taken B8 as relative reference. This point should be underlined, and for next it has taken B9 as reference, and for next B10. Similarly, it goes until B14, but all of these cells are empty. So that's the calculated value still remains the same as the price. So you are getting it right now. So what should be done? The percentage should be absolute. It should remain intact for all of the price items in the entire column. The formula that we use should stick to B7. What should it be done in order to do that? Let's clear all of this for once. Let's go to this column value and click over here and press F4 on your keyboards. Enter. What does this make? Yeah, it do make our this particular B7 cell absolute reference for the entire column till whichever the drag I do or the drag I perform, the reference still remains the same. So now that if you drag the values down, the reference still remains the same. This is how you stick to a particular cell with absolute reference, right? This is the discounted price, calculated discounted price. All of these values are intact. If you now want total prices after discount, you could perform it so. These are the discounted total amounts of individual items. As per yesterday's formula, if you could remember, Alt plus equal to in Windows, Control Shift T in Mac. This is how we calculate the entire sum of the following column. Excel will automatically take the range and calculate the sum for us before discount. Total price. So why should there be $2 in front of each row and each column? Yes, the doubt is actually correct and the doubt is very prominent. So let me create a small number values for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, let's do 3, 4, 5. So these are in columns, these are in rows, right? Now you need to understand, let's create a particular value over here. Okay, 10 is equal to 10 into this value. What's happening? 10 into a6 is obviously 10. Let's see what would happen if you drag it to the right. Yes, the reference value has been changed. If you can look at it, 10 is multiplied by f6 now. Here g6, here h6, i6. So the relative reference is being changed by one particular column in each cell after we drag it. Similarly, it happens in the row as well. 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So this is how it's happening. So if in case, if I don't want to change the relative reference and stick to absolute, I just want to stick to this particular E6, what would happen? Let's see. Let's delete is equal to 10 into press F4 is equal to 10 into press F4, enter. Let's do the same way, dragging it right. 10, surprisingly it is been referenced just to 1. That's not so surprising, by the way, since we have given absolute reference. It just takes to the particular E6 cell. Okay, now let's drag it bottom. Yes, now that absolute reference works clearly well, one more small tricky activity is equal to 10 into E6 F4. E6 has been absolutely referenced, but I just want to reference absolute reference just with the column. What can I do? Just absolute reference it to the letter capital E, not to the row 6. Backspace, enter, 10. So now guess what are the values will be like. So since we absolute referenced it to this particular columns, then the values will be, yes, you are right, the values will be all tens. So since we have not absolute referenced in the rows, what will all the row values will be? Yes, you are right again, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Yes, you are right again. This is how absolute reference on the column works. Let's do it for a row. Now 10 into same E6, absolute reference has been given. Let's remove it for column, enter. Now tell me again, yeah, what are all the values will be like? Yes, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Since we have absolutely referenced just to the rows, not to the columns. And here, yes, 10 again for all the values. This is how the row and column absolute reference works, and this is a small example to show it. Probably this might be a little bit confusing, but go back to your Excel sheets and give it a try from your end. once you try, the muscle memory gets developed and you will be able to easily remember it. Okay, and the logics, once you get into your brain, it will be hard to snatch it out of your brain. Okay, fine. And that is it for today's class. It is all about absolute reference and relative reference. So go back to your Excel sheets, practice, and try it with different examples and see how does it go for you. This is how you perform absolute references and relative references. They should be used according to the R requirement. Fine, and that's it for today. It's all about absolute and relative, and we are gonna see, and I'm gonna see you tomorrow. That's it. Thank you. Bye.